And there we are. We're here for TigerBait Live, another episode tonight. We've been blowing and going. LSU football in high gear past the midway mark. And, of course, we're brought to you each and every week by Pride Roofing. We can't do the show each and every week without our title sponsor and the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez at Pride Roofing. Big commitment tonight, right at 6 o'clock. Michael Daugherty from Loganville, Georgia, Grayson High School. One of the top 150 players in the nation, four-star safety, commits to LSU, could be a nickel or a safety, 6'1", 180, beat out North Carolina, Georgia, many schools. There was at least a dozen that he had major schools across the country that he could have picked from, and so we can discuss him tonight. He's the third commitment for the class of 2023. Mike Denbrock last night was excellent. Tomorrow night we get Madhouse after practice. So a lot to discuss tonight. More basketball, Matt McMahon rolling the roster, and then LSU baseball with the Thursday, Friday, Saturday games in Fayetteville. And what could happen if LSU goes up to Fayetteville and wins 2 out of 3. But bring in Buddy Songy. How you doing, buddy?
Good to see you, Michael. Of course, you know we were bragging for about 2 weeks about the incredible weather we've had for spring. Well, here comes the April showers, and kudos to you. I got a little washed at 4 o'clock and didn't want to make it out there, but you shot it. I missed yesterday. Practice will be out there tomorrow with sunshine. Full scrimmage, 11 a.m. in Tiger Stadium. I can't remember the last time we were able to go to a spring scrimmage at 11 in the morning. And I don't even remember in the heydays of Donato and the others we were allowed to have that kind of access. So we'll obviously give you some input and some reports about that. Everybody still wanting to talk about the quarterback. Who's it going to be? Who's going to stay? Who's going to leave? And I've got some different, maybe call me a DA, call me naive, call me whatever. But the way I'm seeing Coach Kelly and Coach Denbrock present this, I think there's a master plan to keep all four involved and invested, because he said there's only been 30% install at this point. And they also said, well, we might play 2. And then he said what we all know, this thing is going to carry over until the fall. So what you do in the summer and early fall camp. That being said, you and many other people say, well, I mean, it's good that you believe all that, but one quarterback is going to probably leave, and so we will discuss that and where the team is right now.
Yeah, guys, do me a favor, like, share. Please share the show, the links on your social media, Facebook, Twitter, Facebook groups. I put some of those out already, but it really helps us with the algorithm. And if you enjoy the show, please hit the like button, whether you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook. Always say I think the best viewing experience is on our YouTube channel, but we do stream to both each week. So, of course, brought to you by Pride Roofing. We'll talk about them a little bit later in the show. But to Buddy's point about the 4 quarterbacks, I don't see Jaden Daniels going anywhere if he loses the job. I don't see Miles Brennan going anywhere. Walker Howard, the goal or the talk early on has been to redshirt him, possibly get him into 4 games and hold on to his red shirt. So that leaves Garrett Nussmeier. So I don't think you come out of spring with a whole new staff, new offense, learning curve, where any 1 or 2 quarterbacks separate themselves from the pack. So on one hand, I think it benefits Kelly, Denbrock, Joe Sloan for no quarterback to be the definitive number 1 coming out of spring, because then it makes for a good offseason. But at some point, and I think it's Nussmeier, look, they do work even though they're not practicing. They're there every day. There's they're not so mandatory. Workouts are mandatory, and they're learning. They've got to offer up what they know and what they don't know. And, guys start to know who's going to be the guy before they even, and they're working with receivers and GAs. So,
but to your point, Mike, Garrett Nussmeier, when we met with him a couple of weeks ago, poured out his soul about how tough it was to sit out the game and keep the red shirt, and how proud he was for this state and at LSU from Lake Charles. That's where he wants to be considered from. So all of that, and look, we know the last time it happened in 19, Burrow came in, 2 left, 2 stayed, and the rest is history. But I'm just saying 30% on the install is bare minimum. And what that also tells you loud and plain and clear, unfortunate to you fans to understand this if you hadn't picked it up, LSU's a long way away from lining up and playing the Georgias and the Alabamas and the big boys of the world. They are having to put this thing piece by piece, player by player, lineman by lineman, and you're going to have to take some patience pills. But the good thing about it is I think we see the organization and we see the direction. Right now it's moving up. The fan wants it to go up like this. Right now it's probably moving like this, and then you try to get a little bit more and more and more. But what we'll see from the spring game is going to be interesting as far as the quarterback play.
Well, I put a new poll up on TigerBait last night, and I said, it's a fan poll, which position worries you the most? And I only included tight end, offensive line, cornerback, and safety. And right now, cornerback is running away with it. And I think safety is number 2. Offensive line is in there. I have to go back and check, but I think with Will Campbell making his move and being at left tackle and then running into Emory Jones last Thursday night out in the parking lot, I can tell Emory Jones is chomping at the bit, and his confidence level that he can come in and play immediately is high. And he was out there at practice with Bo Bordelon, Brett Bordelon, and others last week. So I think the offensive line is going to be incredibly improved. And so I think the biggest worry on the team is corner, safety, tight end.
Yeah.
And they're not done with, what are they going to do with these remaining spots? So let's get some questions in here real fast, guys. Let's roll in here. Tony Williams, evening, guys. Blaine Smith, big commitment today, definitely. Alley Boy, thanks for coming in. Let's go. And I'm on one. Good evening, gentlemen. Ryan Thibodeau, hey, buddy, and Mike. Glad to have you with us, Ryan. Blaine Smith, Mike and Buddy, what are you hearing about Sage Ryan? Very quiet. Absolutely. I brought that up several times.
But I saw the tape yesterday, and guess what? I finally saw 15 running with the ones in a particular drill. I watched that tape that you shot yesterday. Oh, by the way, Tremont Shorts was back with the number 1s at left guard, so him and Xavier Hill fighting at left guard. I'm going to connect the dots real quick with the offensive line. Will Campbell right now, I don't know if he's going to give up that left tackle spot. Coach Kelly said Saturday, everything has fallen into place once you put Big 66 out here on the left side. Look, he also let it slip that Marlon Martinez has not been healthy. Garrett Dellinger could get cross-trained at center. And as you said, Emory Jones is coming in, and he's going to be in the 2 deep. So right there, Dellinger, Martinez, and Jones are 3 guys that you're not seeing right now. So I agree with your assessment on the O-line. But look, there are some tough spots. Sage Ryan, I think, has to find his niche because from what I've seen, 12, 13, and 5 have gotten the majority of the reps. Of course, Greg Brooks can play in the slot as well as outside. Joe Fouché, you're going to love him, number 13. And, of course, as we know, Jay Ward has asserted himself. So Sage Ryan right now, to me, looks like a guy that's going to be in special teams and a backup right now.
Yesterday when it started to rain and we went indoors, I had no idea that they were going to send the media up on that catwalk. And I liked that vantage point. I was able to just – for most of that video, guys, you got to go subscribe. On our platform, once I joined the F5, started using the F5 platform in August of 2018, there was a video player, and I'm kind of inside baseball on this. There was a video player that was a part of what we do that I wasn't really utilizing. Well, I used it last night in full effect. Had over 11 minutes of footage from practice, and being up in that catwalk, I was able to just hit the record button and just start painting from group to group to group. And so there was some advantages to being indoors versus on 4 practice fields where media is relegated to only 3 sidelines, and actually 2 sidelines, and then an end point if special teams and linemen are on the back 2 fields. So, but man, you got to go check that out. $1 gets you on the site. Go subscribe. Try us out for a week for $1. But yeah, you got to see that footage. But I was seeing some things yesterday that from that vantage point that I really liked, and so I thought that video came out real well. But it was neat seeing Brian Kelly getting in the mix of the OL-DL battles in that back end zone. Watching some of those guys, and Mason Smith looks like a beast. When we were filing out, ran across Jacoby and Guillory. Man, he looks good. I think there's a lot of them that are responding very well to Coach Kane.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's what we call good stuff when we see that kind of quality, because as the caller and listener and coming in with the question, I noticed it. I said, there's 15. We've been looking for 15. Now, as we know, Matthew Langlois is 14. He's been in the mix. We know Derek Davis Jr., number 6, is in the mix. We know that Jordan Allen and his other buddy are coming in at corner, and we're waiting for the Ohio State corner to drop. And so that's my point. I don't think you're going to get a great pulse of what you see out at Tiger Stadium 10 days from now at 1 o'clock, because still you got a lot of pieces to put together.
Do you think we're going to see more than what's shown in the spring game Saturday?
I don't know. Usually the scrimmage before the spring game is the big one.
We get to attend the whole thing, but we only get to film after so many periods, and then they'll tell us we got to shut it down. But I mean, again, I keep, and I'm glad somebody in the media did it last week, and I'm always bringing it up each show. Y'all probably getting sick of hearing it, but it really is special, the access that we've gotten, and I appreciate Brian Kelly doing that for us. Usually fans, whether it's Twitter, can't stand hearing the media complain, but there's been absolutely no complaints. It's been absolutely fantastic. Justice Williams is staying. Tony Williams, yes, he is. Got that, an hour or so ago. Yeah, and here we go, Chance Babin. Daugherty's mom loved the visit. That had to help, absolutely. And she's real vocal on Twitter, and I've kind of interacted with the father earlier today, and they're absolutely happy with the decision for their son, who they call King, that he chose LSU over the others.
How about that? The King being a part of DBU. And I think that you're going to be excited. The way Brooks and Fouché have been described is they're not afraid of collision, and they meet those receivers and ball carriers and quarterbacks in a bad mood. So I want to see LSU be a little more physical. Mike, we joked about Shorman being a corporate sponsor last year because they were so soft at times. No disrespect to any of those players. We know what they put in there. But LSU's been soft and finesse. I think Brian Kelly and his staff is trying to get back that tenacity and that physical play LSU's been known for many years.
Dane Bergeron, good evening, Blues Brothers. Watching the show in the middle of Tornado Watch. Yeah, keeping everybody in North Louisiana. They're getting that bad weather that we've had, 2 Tuesdays in a row the last 2 weeks before this week. Y'all be careful up there, and hopefully everybody comes out okay. Thank you for this great spring practice coverages and analysis. Thank you, Dane. Thanks for the kind words. Blaine Smith, I'm planning to go to the Springfield game. Weather may have other plans. To the spring game.
Okay.
Yeah, he's.
Well, look, I don't think
Blaine's iPhone filling in for him.
Hey, I don't know if you can project the weather on this Saturday, much less the next Saturday. But it'd be nice if they'd have a nice crowd. By the way, I saw a little bit of A&M.
I think they will have a nice crowd.
I saw a little bit of A&M's. That's what I was going to say. They didn't have too many people. And I think remember when it was a fad, Alabama, Georgia, everybody getting 60, 70, 80 people to the spring game? I don't think that.
Let me tell you something, A&M fans. If your team doesn't win 10 wins this year, we don't want to hear from you. We don't want to ever hear from you again. It's time to go 10 wins plus. And I'm not talking 10 wins in an Orange Bowl after a COVID season. That was some bull crap.
Well, yeah, wait a minute. Now, Jimbo called me up on the phone and said you wanted him as a coach.
They are the most. The A&M fans they're the most ridiculous out there.
Oh.
And I've never seen. You want to talk about rent free? They finally got their wish, but they probably had more Will Wade is when's Will Wade going to get the axe threads in the last 3 years than on any LSU message board? They're absolutely ate up in College Station.
Well, I think we just saw a recruit who asked the question, where are all the football trophies? So I'm not going to join in on the muscling of Texas A&M. You just have to look at what
well, I told
done.
everybody last season I wasn't buying them, and sure enough, they lived up to it.
Yeah.
But if you listen to them, you think they've got about 8 or 9 national championships in their history.
But see, that's the last chapter. I'm worried right now, just building this thing up, seeing what they can do, seeing they can get in here and build a solid foundation. I do think it's going to be interesting when you invariably make a decision on the quarterback. You know, Den Brock went to old school forum and mentioned 3 tight ends. Coach, I hate to tell you, you don't have 3 tight ends right now at LSU. So if you're thinking about going bunch with 3 tight ends, you're not going to have the physicality you used to.
I'm filming them yesterday, hitting some sleds, and I think that little stretch of film that I had was maybe about 8 seconds, and it was, Mashburn and Cole Taylor, and then I moved on. Henry Gordon Bennett, hey guys, do you think that Will Campbell is physically ready to be an SEC starter? And will he have the nastiest mentality of any offensive lineman? He absolutely is physically gifted. And when you see him out there amongst the other offensive linemen, he doesn't look like a freshman. But certainly Will is just out of high school. I mean, what about right now? He probably just would have had prom weekend. No, he's at LSU in spring football and in school his first semester. So, he's absolutely gifted. And Brian Kelly's been around the block a few times, all these wins in his career, and for him to come out and say that the offensive line started to come together once they moved Will Campbell to left tackle tells you all you need to know.
I will just say this. Coach Kelly mentioned, he was asked about that on Saturday, and he said his emotional awareness. If you get beat, take Garrett Dellinger in the Texas A&M game at the final game of the year. And once again, Jake Peets didn't give him any help. He was getting blistered, gave up 4 sacks at the tackle spot. You can't let that get to you, because if you do, it's going to continue to haunt you. And Will Campbell, if he gets beat, he forgets about it and moves on. There's no doubt he's physical enough. Does he have the experience? No. But the first 4 or 5 games, you're going to be able to garner that.
I think, his personality does remind me of Andrew Whitworth from the same part of Louisiana.
Yeah.
He's that super guy off the field. NFL Man of the Year. He's absolutely that likable of a kid, and so I think he is absolutely that guy. But does he have a mean streak? Oh hell yeah, he does.
Oh, no doubt.
And he's competitive.
Exactly.
And during the recruiting process, when national wing nuts were saying this guy and that guy might be better than him as far as offensive tackles, he wasn't having it. He'll flat out tell you I'm the best. And that's the kind of mentality that you want to have. And I think the world of Will Campbell, and I'm looking forward to him having great success and through the recruiting process, getting to talk to his parents multiple times. Comes from a super family as well. And we know with that Neville program, now he's got a teammate that's got an offer. And so we're going to see how that pans out. I'm about to hit the road, and we're going to be having a lot of spring eval stuff coming your way during the month of May. Let's see what we got here. Denley Nelson with the super chat. Big thanks, Denley. He says, great video footage. Tigers look great, organized, motivated, and physical, and loads of emojis, biceps, footballs. And big thanks, Denley. That's what we've been saying each and every show. It's there's a whole new feeling out there.
Well, listen, folks, this is a rude awakening. It would be like you were working for somebody, and they let you text and have a cigarette break every 35, 40 minutes of the hour. And not trying to disparage anybody that was here before. But all of a sudden, you come in, and if your shift starts at 8, you better get there at 7:55, and you better do all the things that are right. And how many times have we heard this from the players? They appreciate the fact they are organized, they are disciplined, they have been communicated on why they are asking them to do these things. And I think we get that big T word. I think there's some trust that's being built.
Here's the thing. When things started going bad the last few years, lawsuits and stuff off the field, and one thing I've said on this show several times is that a lot of that is a result of what you've seen, accusations, some of it baseless, some of it obnoxiously baseless. That is what you get when you go multiple regimes at LSU where you didn't absolutely clean house. And so we're seeing over and over new people being hired in the building, fresh faces, and that's what needed to happen a long time ago. And you've had people in the building that went back to the Hallman years, the DiNardo years, the Saban years. You had people in the building doing stuff the same way they were doing it 20 years ago. And a lot of that they got away with because at LSU you can. It's the only game in town. The brand could overcome a lot of that stuff. But when you're going up against Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State and everybody else for the best of the best nationally, whether it be offensive linemen in years when you don't have them, everything needs to run like a Rolex watch. And so I'm anxious to see where all these new faces and all these new analysts and new recruiting folks in the building, and then the guys that he kept over, J.R. Belton and all those guys. I'm excited to see what the outcome of all that's going to be. Got some great guys in that building. Arsenault. I think the future is absolutely bright and I think I agree with Coach Poling with what he said last Thursday night that they're about to see the commitment numbers rise in a big way. Spring game is going to be a big recruiting weekend. Then they hit on the road, spring evaluation period. A lot of high schools will start May 1. Spring games will start happening mid-May, a third week in May. And then, of course, you get the June camp. So I don't know if they're going to be at 15, 16, 17 commitments in August like you would see most years because there are going to be some kids. They're going to take a wait and see. And then the whole NIL factor,
And how many scholarships? There has been a lot of talk. They may go 25 plus 7 again because and look, even with Kirby Smart, now we know Kirby has run into some problems because there's been a lot of 5 stars that have been recruited and got a pot of gold to go to Georgia, but aren't getting developed or aren't playing, and so they're leaving. And so he's even talking about they're being thin at some spots. And so there's some discussion, and even Coach Poling mentioned it. They don't know if they'll have 25 or 25 plus 7 or whatever, but it's a good time to be rebuilding. But once again, remember, they will be lucky to get to 84 or 85, I think Coach Kelly told us last week. But the following year, I think, Mike, they're going to probably have the kind of depth that you need.
And I had asked Poling that when we got the first round of interviews before, once the whole staff was hired, and asking about the 25 plus 7. Are they going to get a plus number? And I think they're banking on that because that will go a long way with helping them. So, all right, let's hear from our corporate sponsor, Pride Roofing, Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm Alex.
Were you affected by Hurricane Ida?
Insurance claim, no problem.
Are you concerned about the shortage of building materials?
We have what you need.
We're licensed residential and commercial contractors.
In Louisiana and Mississippi.
We install shingles, metal, and commercial roofing. From Baton Rouge to Slidell or Houma up to the North Shore.
We got you covered. Call Pride, 855-PRIDE-16.
Pride Roofing, the official roofer of TigerBait.com.
And there they are, Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez with Pride Roofing. Of course, we're here each and every week because of them. Give them a call for your free roofing inspection. You give them a call, 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait. And with your free roof inspection, they're going to give you free TigerBait for a year if you say you heard about them on TigerBait, whether it's commercial or residential. And talk to someone today. Insurance company issues. Had an insurance company that I was told and that was insuring some folks in the North Shore that went under. And Pride Roofing went in there and gave a big discount because that lady referred them to other people to make sure that she gets her house secured and taken care of with a roof. That's the kind of things that they do at Pride Roofing. Anywhere in South Louisiana, of course, they're based in Albany, Louisiana. Swing by their shop on Florida Boulevard. You'll see what we're talking about. And then right across the street, their new acquisition of Crown Metals. It's exciting to see the things that are going on at Pride Roofing.
Job well done is a job done with pride and by pride. Commercial, residential, metal roofs. They've got all the shingles. They've got the trucks with the tarps. They've got the plywood. They've got anything that you want, as you mentioned, since the acquisition of Crown Metals. It has truly changed what they can offer. A lot of businesses coming to them to get specialized products. And as we talked about, that's the kind of job that they do for people, whether you're sharpening the pencil to get you the best deal or whether they're helping people out in Lake Charles after those back-to-back hurricanes or whatever. Trust me, you're going to like these people. You're going to appreciate the way that they communicate with you, and you are going to be the star of the neighborhood because you're not going to lose shingles and you're not going to have problems when other people, unfortunately, we live in this part of the country where we have hurricanes.
Yeah, Dane's dealing with it right now. He's under a tornado warning. It's it's nonstop with roofs.
So you won't be disappointed in Baton Rouge. 225-275-2041.
Bart Smokey with the Smokey Investment Team, who sponsors our post-practice reports. And we very much thank him for bringing those to you on YouTube after each and every practice. Did the one yesterday from my SUV out in the parking lot with the rain coming down. Bart says he's got a question. Positions of the final 3 transfer portal guys. I think it's corner. I'm starting to wonder if they don't feel they're okay at center. We're not hearing any play on center, or maybe it just could be that they haven't seen one that's hit the portal that they like, that they think can help them. But I think that what I've seen so far, my hunch kind of tells me that they think they have an answer there, particularly when Dellinger gets healthy. Tight end, obviously. But could it be 2 corners? Could it be a corner and a safety and a tight end? We'll see.
Corner, very important. As we know, there's so many teams in the SEC West that go spread. You just can't have enough guys that can cover kicks and can cover with 3 and 4 and sometimes 5 wide receivers with the empty backfield like Ole Miss likes to throw out there, and even everybody else throwing it down the field. Look, you got to have some tight ends. Coach Denbrock talked about 3 tight ends, and I think they're a couple of years away. Now, Marlon Taylor's going to have to come in and play, and I think they certainly need to get one, but are you going to get one good enough to help you immediately? At that position, they've got a couple guys. I haven't seen anybody cross-trained, so that's a neat area. And then as you have talked about the kid from Ohio State, if he checks out physically, I think that they want to bring him in here. But one thing about it, folks, you're not seeing any wasted scholarships. And look, that was a question you and I hit on the radio show a little bit today. How many of these guys that have been missing practice are already in the portal and they haven't been released? There's been 7 or 8 guys that haven't been coming out to spring practice. Is it an injury? Are they no longer around? So we'll get a better idea of the numbers after the spring game and how many are going to leave. How many that have been here 3 or 4 years, maybe they're second or third on the depth chart and say, I'm going, bye-bye. Where do you go? That goes back to the quarterback.
Yep. Kenny Haynes with a super chat. Thank you, Kenny. He says, Mike and Buddy, it's baseball season. He's already turned the page on football. I think he's upset because I've gotten so far no footage of backpedaling in cornerback drills. And I know he always looks forward to that, and I'm joking. It says it's baseball season, time to talk baseball. This weekend is critical to the trajectory of the season. Win 1 is okay. 2, look out. 3, and he's pointing to the heavens.
Well, listen, I think that it was an incredible comeback win. I'm watching the game, first game of the series last week, and as people know, they went in there 4-5. And Travinsky's got a 2-2 count. And he finally had some patience. He's done a good job with his eye. Got a walk. Josh Stevenson comes in, Andrew's little brother, gets hit first and second. Trey Morgan's up. Wild pitch, all of a sudden, second and third, line drive to center field, boom, you go up 3-2, and then Cruz goes yard to make it 5-2. They win the next game, even though they had 4 walks and 3 errors, beat Mississippi State and then clubbed them. So they've got to be feeling good. Mikael Hilliard is going tomorrow night at 6:30 on the digital network. Blake Money is going on Friday. That's 6 o'clock on the SEC network. And then to be named pitcher.
You like that move? That rotation?
Yeah, I think Hilliard's probably been a little more consistent than Money right now. And then, of course, Dutton and Taylor and others. But, look, I'm with Kenny. If you go over there and take 2 or 3, you've got Missouri and Georgia back-to-back weekends.
You know, we've been sitting here just moaning and groaning about how this baseball team's cooked. And then all of a sudden you look at the standings now after a couple of weeks, and LSU's right there with everybody but Tennessee. And then, like Richie B points out on our message board, you know, but Tennessee hasn't hit the meat of the schedule yet. What are they going to do when they hit some opponents? But obviously Vitello's got them rolling, and so we're going to see what happens there. But, you want to win 1 out of 3 in Arkansas at a minimum, but what happens if you win 2?
And us being football guys, baseball is a game of failure. You're really good when you are 1 out of 3. You hit 333. You're going to make a lot of money. So I'm hoping Arkansas starter tomorrow night is not lost in the SEC, so that'll be a big challenge. But if they can get 2 of 3 and then come back and win 2 or 3 and 2 or 3, now all of a sudden, Mike, you got a great chance to host a regional, and then who knows if they can get hot and peak at the right time.
Let's see. Let me get Gerald Holyfield rolls in. Great commitment today. Yes, it was. Kid had a great visit. He was there on the first weekend of official visits. Michael Daugherty had a fantastic visit with his parents. They loved the campus, and that made the decision easier. And by the way, the live feed, in fact, I put the live feed of his announcement in our commitment story, which is free on TigerBait. I thought the guy at the TV station there did a fantastic job. What was it, maybe 6 or 7 minutes, but it was precise. That was one of the better ones I've seen. Kudos to him. I forget his name. But I thought their whole little commitment production at 6 o'clock was one of the better ones. So,
but look,
go check that out. And kid interviewed fantastic.
But the King kind of played it cool. You know, he's acting like he didn't know which way he was going, and then all of a sudden he had hats on the table, pulled out another hat, and showed.
Well, he had an LSU hat over to the right, and I'm like, to his left, and I'm like, okay, well, why isn't he reaching over there? He's going out. I thought, does he have a big? I was thinking he might have a full-size helmet underneath there. I'm like, he's not going to put on a big helmet. Or thought, or does he have Mike the Tiger's head? Like what does he got underneath there? But yeah, he had another cap and revealed an LSU shirt under his sweatshirt. So there you go, guys. That is a real nice pickup. Denley Nelson, Will Campbell been eating some red beans and rice, brother. Yeah, I laughed last night because when we rolled out after Denbrock, I packed up my bags and I'm coming around the corner and here comes Walker Howard, almost knocked several of us over, and he had a big old plate. I guess they can go downstairs into that nutritional center and get a to-go box. And I'm telling you, that thing looked like it probably was about 3 pounds of food. And it looked like he was no time to eat, in the cafeteria. He was taking the to-go box and heading down the hallway to a meeting room, probably to watch film practice. And, so it's round the clock, man.
You saw Brian Polian tweeted today talking about that nutritional center. It's as good as it gets. The food is great. And Mike Jones on a couple of times.
That's how they all put on weight.
Well, and it's good weight, though. It's good weight.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the staff.
Yeah.
Because they can just walk downstairs and get anything they want. They got to pay. They have to swipe cards, and I don't know what the how that is all worked out for coaches, but that's dangerous when you can just walk downstairs and get something, But yeah, and it's not just for football players. When we're sitting there waiting for you see all the athletes from all the sports going in and out of those front doors. That nutritional facility is such a recruiting tool for LSU. You have no idea.
Going to be a much better.
That ate the Notre Dame people up last week when Brian Kelly said that. talking about that's something he was wanting at Notre Dame and he didn't get, and he kind of poked the bear a little bit with that one.
Notre Dame people have the jilted lover syndrome for Brian Kelly, as LSU fans have had the jilted lover syndrome for Nick Saban. The difference is, of course, is that Nick was in this conference, left LSU, went to Miami Dolphins, came back, went to Bama, and oh, by the way, has added 6 national championships to one that he won over here. So, but yeah, Notre Dame, their fan base, their writers, their medias, all that. And then, of course, the other story that we may have time to get to, Coach O, you guys, you might win it all.
Yeah,
now, he does know what a champion looks like.
I have that right here. Let me get
to it.
Yeah, let me get Brian Madeira real quick. Mike, who is this Samantha Fish chick, and where does she perform? I saw her at Chelsea's Live. I don't know if any of you guys, I'm going to give Chelsea's Live a free pub. That place on Nicholson, what a great new venue. Clean, great bands. They're booking bands of different, I think they saw a 90s night, 80s night. But I saw Samantha Fish there. She's based out of New Orleans. Great guitar player, singer, a little bit of Bonnie Raitt, but fantastic. You must have seen that I'd posted about her on Facebook. Joel Robinson with the Super Chat. This is it, buddy. What is your opinion about Coach O visiting Notre Dame? I'm excited to see this team, and I think LSU were surprised a few people this year. Coach Orgeron was at Miami. Where else has he been? He's been going all over. I think he's been out to USC.
Well, he's trying to get his kids some jobs. And he met Marcus Freeman when he was the head coach, and Marcus, of course, was interviewing for the D.C. job, which invariably did not go to him. He went to Notre Dame, and those guys had no problems, but Marcus Freeman's wife was not about to move her family down south, and so you could just tell from the exit at the airport that she was going to be the main decision maker or a big part of it. And inexplicably, after Brian Kelly left LSU for $100 million and a better opportunity to win a national championship, that ought to make them mad. But lo and behold, man, Coach O goes over there, and there's all these relationships. And I think it was interesting. He did give this analogy about the offensive line as a fist. And you play a lot better as a fist. Look how tight all of them are versus open hand. But come on, man.
I'll just say this: you give me $17 million and plus all going forward, plus the other millions already in the checking account. I'm probably spending about 3 or 4 months in New Zealand. Okay, I'm out of here.
But he's trying to get his kids jobs. That's what he's doing.
Let them get their own jobs.
But he had them on staff over here.
Yeah,
as analyst. Now, one of them's already working at
that's the problem with that generation. They need parents to get them jobs. Get your own jobs.
I'm not touching that one.
Come on, man.
Mike getting
spicy.
Spicy.
Learn to fly. No, he says he wants to take the year off, but he won't get off a practice field somewhere. Look, I get it. You love it. I always tell you it's good to work. You know, a lot of people, sometimes that's the key to living a long life is always having something to do. And so I get it. I'm not going to fault him for that, but I don't know. Some of it's...
Look, he's beating me up because I didn't want to go in the rain.
I mean, some of it's like, come on, man. I'm going to back off of that. All right. Kenny Russell in the house. Mike, do you think we finished with a top 10 class this year, and how many more safeties do you see the staff going after? I don't see any reason why they can't have a top 10 class. Anything less than that, being LSU, is a very much underperforming. Even in years where the state of Louisiana is down, with what the state gives you here, and then you get your normal East Texas, Dallas, 1 or 2 in Georgia. You got a kid from St. Louis now. It could be more kids from the state of Missouri. You should always finish in the top 10 at LSU. That should never anything less than that. And look, they've had a whole year. I think they'll get there. But you asked me about Caleb Jackson, who we saw at practice last Saturday. Of course, the Liberty running back. And I've heard a little scuttlebutt that maybe he doesn't like all the running backs there. Texas A&M is very much in it for him. Tommy Robinson is done a very good job for the Aggies staying on him. And, of course, he got Le'Veon Moss out of here, which I think for Le'Veon it was a good thing for him to go. He needed to get out of the area. I don't know. I think LSU's going to be fine there, but I think they need to keep pushing the envelope with Caleb Jackson.
Well, the scuttlebutt on the safeties has been you're taking Daugherty and some other kids and Derek Williams, of course, as we know at Westgate. This is why I kind of flew off the handle last year about not solidifying the tight end, who I liked, and it's a need position. And who knows what Alabama gave him in NIL and the money, but I thought that was a real major faux pas last year for Coach Kelly and his staff. And now his buddy, who's the safety, came to visit, but most people feel like he's leaning towards Alabama, and the Barber's involved and that. So, and then you got the Jackson kid that people are saying you're not hearing much about him, and he's got to do some academic work. So a couple of good safeties in the state, but LSU may not get either one of them.
Well, I think Coach Steeples at corner and Kerry Cooks at safety, they're going to get the numbers they need. And there's an argument to be made that there's a long way to go. And you got the transfers, obviously, to help you get through this coming year. But as far as the high school kids, they need a major infusion of talent at both spots. So, and then we'll see what's going to happen after next year, how it all plays out. So, but there's obviously big questions at that spot, and but I think they're going to get a lot better over time. I want to talk about our dear friend Tony Freeman over at Assurance Financial. Of course, she's a big part of our show each and every week. So if you're thinking of buying a home or refinancing your current mortgage but haven't found a lender you can trust, let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial right here in Baton Rouge. She's a dear friend of mine, someone who many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs over and over. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed, and right now that absolutely matters. We're about to see interest rates go up and up. That's why you need to get on the ground floor with Tony. Get her on the phone, talk to her, tell you heard about her on TigerBait.com. But she offers a wide range of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer, ready to buy a new home, or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, that's 225-239-7150. And tell her you heard about her on TigerBait.com. NMLS number 104765. Equal housing opportunity 70876.
Tony, of course, Tigers shark in baseball season. Obviously, Bart and his brother Smokey with the reports and our corporate sponsors over here with the show, Pride Roofing. We appreciate you patronizing all of them, and they are good people. And I think we all love to do business with people that we respect, but people we like. And Tony is going to make you feel comfortable. She is the consummate professional.
Tracy Poole, that's some good cooking in the Nutrition Center. Yeah, I've been able to eat there twice when they first opened it up. And Brian Madeir says, Mike, please remind Buddy that he has to fast and abstain from meat this coming Friday.
Yeah, Brian.
I haven't been invited to any crawfish boils.
It is Good Friday, Brian. I am a PC, which is a practicing Catholic, so I appreciate you trying to keep me on my P's and Q's. But
you don't have to worry about that.
It is Easter this weekend. We hope all of you have a blessed Easter and enjoy it. And look, for my non-Catholic friends, I get this all the time. So you can't eat a big old steak on Friday night, but you can go eat 5 pounds of crawfish. Man, boy, that's really giving up something.
Scott Tronhall, glad to be listening to these two great insiders to our Tigers. Thank you, Scott. Thanks for the kind words. And then
SDT?
And he follows up any word on Bradford and the defensive line guy that Coach always bragged about. Who was the D-line? Coach?
Probably Sonny Fanoa and Anthony Bradford. And Anthony Bradford was listed at 365. I have not seen him all spring. So that is one of those guys I would not be shocked if he's not in the program anymore. Now, I'm not telling you I have inside information on that. Just telling you that there's been no mention of him or Sonny Fanoa, who did give him some decent minutes at defensive end. Oh, by the way, Mike mentioned Mason Smith. Jaquelin Roy was back at practice running with the ones again. So, man, when you talk about Allie Gay and Mason Smith, Jaquelin Roy, Jacoby and Gilry, the kid from Missouri, B.J. Ojolari, all these kids, Quincy Wiggins, Savion Jones, and then you bring in a technician and a recruiter like Coach Kane, LSU is going to kick butt moving forward in the defensive line. I'm going to tell you right now, Kane is going to be, in my opinion, as good a recruiter as you have on that staff.
I want to see some really mic'd up Coach Kane.
I just mark my words. That's going to be the best recruiter on this staff.
I bet you that's for the little bit we see, but I would love to see an extensive mic'd up with him, and then but keep the 4-letter words in them and just beep them out. To me, that would be some great video viewing.
And don't sleep on 92, Makai Wingo, who is from Missouri. Of course, we know Makai Garner is the big-time corner from ULL. And finally, we got, Mike, we finally got word on Jarek Bernard Converse with a foot, and they fixed it, and he's supposed to be back running and in the physical I guess part of it with the training in the summer come early to mid-June.
Yeah, J.D. Bricken, have you seen Harold Perkins in practice yet? We haven't. How's he doing? No, he doesn't arrive till summer. He was not a midterm grad. Chris English, when do we think we will hear something on 7? Banks, I tell you, we thought, it's one of those guys we've just been waiting on for almost a week now. And, there's some people that are kind of iffy on him. I got to tell you that. I've talked to a lot of people and question about his health, production the last few years, had the hip. Ryan Day didn't have a spot for him if he wanted to come back. And so if you're needing corners, is that necessarily the answer for you?
Well, it's back to tight end. You need somebody that's going to come in. If you're going to use the last 3 spots with your scholarships after you've gone through everything, you need guys that are going to be plug in and play. And whether that's in the too deep or not.
I mean, look, you always get excited about new players, but the transfer portal aren't always hits, okay? They're not all Joe Burrows and, they're just not. But when you got a need, sometimes you got to take what you can get. Don Wheat, great show. What do you think of the Bob Starkey hire? Everybody I talk to is like Buddy, thumbs up. I never had any dealings with Coach Starkey back in the day. Met him one time, but he's about as well thought of in men's and women's basketball as it gets.
You talk about a rebuild. Look, folks, we talked about it last week. You're rebuilding women's basketball. You're rebuilding men's basketball. You're rebuilding LSU football. And this is the first year of the rebuild in LSU baseball. And it's been kind of rocky. And as Tiger Shark said, you take 2 or 3, and all of a sudden Jay Johnson is looking a lot better than he did 2 or 3 weeks ago. But the coach that the great coach that left to get her first opportunity at UCF was an excellent recruiter. Bob Starkey is great with X's and O's and strategy, and he will be a big-time asset to Kim Mulkey. And look,
Auburn's sick about losing him.
Yeah.
And then Auburn was sick. I mean, Texas A&M was sick when Coach Blair lost Coach Starkey to Auburn. So
but with Kim Mulkey,
he's
the way
loved.
she recruits.
He's loved everywhere. And what does that say about Kim Mulkey? That that's who she went for.
And he was excited. He's very excited. And so, look, folks, it's going to happen. Get your season tickets. And women's basketball, once again, did they have a sellout this year? Oh, no, I can't remember. I know gymnastics did. I think women. I tell you
they
what.
did have one. They had one sellout.
No, they had a paid sellout. Gordon McKernan bought some tickets up for it to be an actual paid sellout, but it wasn't an actual sellout. But they will be selling out some games next year.
Yeah, I've got several friends who are on the waiting list to buy women's basketball tickets. People who are buying individual tickets every game, went to every game, and now they had so much fun. They're buying them. So, and they're only on the. It's not like there's a waiting list. It's just they haven't gone on sale yet, so you're on the list when they do go on sale. But from a media standpoint, they were as fun to cover as it gets. Mulkey is just she is a what do you call that? A national treasure. She absolutely is. Let me scroll down, guys. Let me get to as many of your comments as we can. Big thanks to everybody for being on the show tonight, and please hit the like button and share it to your social media, and hit the subscription button if you're watching us on YouTube, or if you're watching us on Facebook, hit the like button on TigerBait on Facebook. So,
hey, just a couple tidbits while Mike pulls some stuff up. Nathan, I think he said Dibert. I called him Dibbert, but Coach Polian called him Dibert, is going to have to come in and kick. No disrespect to those two walk-ons that are kicking right now for LSU. But, Mike, this is something the LSU fan base really doesn't think about right now. You're saying, well, who's going to be the starting running back? Who's going to be the quarterbacks? Who's going to be the tight end? Who's going to play corner? Well, you got a snapper, a holder, a place kicker, a kickoff man, a punter, a gunner, a pair of gunners. I mean, this is a reworking all the special teams. So from what I've seen, the little I've seen and what I saw from the tape from yesterday, this kid who's been called unflappable, but man, how would you like to be coming in and living up to Cade York and the kind of years he's had?
Yep.
That's pretty big pressure. Jay Bramblett and Peyton Todd are going to battle for the punting job. Everybody says Todd's got a cannon, but still not yet consistent on his fundamentals. So Bramblett will be probably a slight favorite there. He will be the holder. And as I've been watching closely, Chris Hilton and Malik Neighbors are going to battle out for the punt returner. And LSU's got to get better punt returns and kickoff returns. We've talked about this a couple times. LSU has been disappointing as a punt return team and as a kickoff return team, I really think, in the last 3-4 years.
Ross Akpan, my good buddy over at Madison Prep, offensive line coach over there, says the work he has seen between the O-line and defensive line has been awesome. And Madison Prep's going to have another good football team, no doubt about it. I really like David Jones. I brought him up last week, defensive back. I think he could be the Jordan Allen of this recruiting year. That's who I'm comparing to. The guy that wins games, does exceptional things for Madison Prep, flies under the radar. Is he maybe a guy that you sneak in with your last spot if you can? But he's a fantastic football player at Madison Prep, and I'm looking forward to see what they've got over there.
I don't want to get too spiritual here, but look, Tiger Woods, you got to feel like the big fella upstairs wanted Tiger Woods to live and just made a return to the Masters. That was great for the game. Quincy Wiggins is close to the good Lord. So happy for that young man. Could have been killed, could have been seriously injured with that freak accident with the motor scooter at the high school thing.
I forgot about that.
And so happy for that kid because he deserves that kind of break, and that kid is just starting to scratch the surface. He's going to be a player. He's raw, but this is what I said. With the tutelage of Coach Kane, the way they're recruiting and the way they're moving forward, got to love it for Savion Jones, Quincy, and those young guys.
For him to take that fall and get hit at that speed.
Baby, you better believe in God.
And then, so if he walked away from it like it was nothing, what kind of damage is to the vehicle? You know,
I just know
I would love to find out there was about $6,000 worth of damage to that vehicle minimum.
Well, just happy for that.
Was that a hit and run, by the way? Was that a hit and run? Did they?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I thought it was a fluke accident.
Von Bluesman, do you think LSU has any chance of signing Arch Manning? No, I don't. I don't see that happening there. It's going to be interesting to see how that how that's all going to play out for him down the road. Dane Bergeron with a super chat. Great show, guys. Buddy, I need to get you some of those LSU Titleist golf hats. Drop me a message on TigerBait and let me know where you got it. He likes your hat.
Okay. Good to hear from you, Snake. Hey, listen, we were just talking about the 4 quarterbacks, Mike, with Daniels coming in here, Brendan, of course, his final year, and then the 2 freshmen, one being a redshirt, one being a true. Do you think Arch Manning wants to come over here and make it a handful? Look, everybody knows with Walker Howard at LSU, Arch Manning's not coming to LSU. Maybe in a different era with a different situation, but there's no way, shape, or hell that he's going to end up being. And what do you think? Is it going to be Texas? Who's it going to be? Who you like to land, Arch?
I don't know. Is Saban sneaking in there?
Well, you got Caleb. You got Ghost. What's his name?
Holstein.
Holstein. So he's recruiting him.
Right, but does he? Which one does he prefer? You know,
Well,
but is it? But I tend to think before Saban was and Arch went over there. You know, between Georgia and Texas, I would choose Georgia if I was Manning, because I'm not buying what's going on in Austin at all.
Yeah.
So,
one other little tidbit, Mike, kind of crazy, and you and I have not talked about this, even in our off the show discussions. High school players can now get NIL. LHSAA piped that out to us, last week? And I always had this joke about, well, if I was Cooper Manning and that was my son, he'd be making $1 million and sign right underneath the arches at McDonald's. Well, look, they don't need the money. We know that. But what do you think about these high school kids having a chance to get a piece of the pie? It's problematic enough with what everybody's dealing with the colleges. Is this a good thing or a bad thing moving forward, in your opinion?
I don't know. There's still all that left to be.
It's good for the mamas and daddies, but are they going to handle it the right way? And once again, how many times have you had this discussion about private versus public with recruiting? Hey, these guys do this, and I'm going to turn these guys in, and now all of a sudden you're going to be able to get NIL deals? It to me, opens up a can of worms.
Dane, thank you so much for the super chat. Phil Tittle, it's odd, Mike. I am subscribed for the notifications on YouTube, but only get notifications for Facebook. I then go to YouTube. Yeah, you're not the only one. I'm subscribed to a load of channels that I want to be alerted as soon as, and a lot of times I don't get them. So I don't know if it's just maybe I've got too many notifications coming to my phone. Is it my phone? Is it a YouTube problem? Or is this a deal where we need to get Elon Musk to go buy YouTube as well? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there. But
well, look, not that I'm old enough to have ever seen Y.A. Tittle, but that would be interesting if he had any relation. The only story I heard, Mike, many years ago, I don't even remember when it was, but Y.A. Tittle actually was running and scoring a touchdown, and I think his trousers kind of fell down or whatever. He ran into the tunnel. I don't remember all the details, but he was a legendary. So Y.A. Tittle brings back.
it was worse than Burrow at Mississippi State.
Burrow with a little
Burrow's line at the end of that game.
Oh, that was funny.
Like I had texted someone. I said, "This is what they showed." I said, "You need to have something funny ready for him to go because it's going to come up." Because they kept showing it and like what did he say? It was that moon over Mississippi, or he took it all in stride. That was another storyline of just a fun season. Let's see, guys. All right. Well, I think we went right at an hour. I want to thank all of you. Go subscribe to TigerBait.com. Choose the annual package. Try us out for a week for $1. You'll enjoy the website. Lots of spring football coverage coming your way. Recruiting, kicking into gear, baseball coverage, basketball coverage. And I'm on the Tiger Den premium message board day and night to answer your questions. And we really want to have you as a subscriber to TigerBait. Go subscribe once the show's over with. We'd love to have you. And we'll be back here. We'll be back here tomorrow night with an instant analysis report, and also we'll have Coach House tomorrow night. We're gonna have loads for you tomorrow evening, right here on TigerBait.com. So see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.